have to be here for game day?
I generally get here about 8 hours before kickoff.
And do you feel like that's too little or too much time?
I think at the beginning of the season, it's too little. Towards the end of the season, it's too much. As everybody figures out what they're doing and gets a feel for things, because we have a lot of temp staff that only works game days, it gets a lot smoother as the season goes on.
What would you say makes for a successful game day experience for both customers and employees?
For the customers, if we are doing everything right and we are providing hot food at the right time, helping people, that makes the experience good for them. From our staff's perspective, if we have set them up to where they can do all those things for the customers without any trouble, it's a good experience for the staff.
All right. And what are some of your responsibilities for game day?
On game day, I essentially become a glorified runner to an extent. I monitor, as well as the general manager and the head chef. We monitor all floors at all times, so I'm constantly running around. I fix computers. I speak to anybody that may be disgruntled. I make sure everything is stocked as well as possible throughout the game.
What would you say would be a more effective way to carry out game day duties?
The most effective way we could carry out game day duties better would be to have more staff. Given what we receive from a monetary standpoint to conduct game days, that's not always possible. And given that we have temp staff, they don't always want to show up, especially at 11 a.m. games when they have to be here at 5 in the morning.
And what is the work environment like when you use a teamwork versus an individual approach?
If you're not using teamwork on such a large-scale operation such as game days, everything falls apart. If it's every man for themselves, then nothing's going to get accomplished in any kind of efficient manner.
And when using a teamwork approach, what is everyone's responsibility?
When using a teamwork approach, it's you pick up the slack for anybody else that is having trouble getting done what they need to do or has too much on them at that point in time. Everybody helps everybody. It makes everything.
What time do you have to get here on game day?
On game day, it just depends on the game, but generally 3 to 4 hours before. So for an 11, at 11 o'clock game, we come here at 5 a.m. Yeah.
All right.
So hours are off, but yeah.
What makes for a successful game day experience for both customers and employees?
I don't know. Everybody's actually working hard and working with each other instead of against each other. We have limited amount of resources that are spread thin between everybody, and so as long as everybody, doesn't hoard anything or hold anything that needs to be shared, then it all works pretty well. Everybody just needs to keep a good attitude.
All right. And do you feel like you have too little or too much time to prepare whenever you get here that early for games?
It just depends on the game day and depends on how everything's been set up beforehand. But generally, I think I have just right around an adequate amount of time. Usually finish up like 30, 40 minutes before the game starts. Start to walk around and see what's going on.
And what are some of your responsibilities for game day?
Oh, I have to set up a bar and make a bunch of drinks for people that are trying to get drunk and watch football.
Sounds about right. What would you say would be a more effective way to carry out your game day duties? Like people being assigned specific tasks, like setting up before or after instead of everybody doing it, or people coming in earlier than they are scheduled to, later?
I think the biggest thing is probably, honestly, it doesn't really have anything to do with setting up for game day, but closing down afterwards. I think if everybody pitched in, it would go a lot faster and wouldn't be such a hassle for everybody.
All right. When using, or what is the work environment like when you use a teamwork approach versus an individualistic approach?
Well, I think it generally makes things go a lot smoother, considering, many hands make light work, or any other number of platitudes. I think that it is important in the restaurant industry to recognize that we're here for ourselves. We are here to make tips, but all that being said, it is important to keep in mind that everything is a lot easier and a lot more functional whenever it's approached from a more communal standpoint.
And when using a teamwork approach, what is everyone's responsibility? Does anybody have just one set job, or is it kind of a give all, take all?
I mean, generally we like to have it set up to where everybody has specific jobs to work on, so that way everybody isn't doing the same thing, or ignoring something that needs to be done. So it's good to have it organized, but also fluid. It's nice to have the ability to be like, okay, well, we're halfway through this task right now, but there's another task that's going to be a lot more pressing, and it's going to take a lot more time if we wait to do it.
What time do you have to be here for game day?
For game day, depending on the game time, if it's a morning game, like 11 a.m. game, I'm here at 4 a.m. If it's a night game, like 6 p.m., I'm here at like 12 o'clock. So not too bad.
Do you feel like that's too little or too much time to prepare?
Too little.
And why would you
Every
say that?
time. Because it's such a massive stadium. There's so many people that enter these doors for a game day. We're getting ice, beer, drinks, food, utensils, napkins. The list just keeps running for the amount of needs that the people that are coming in here need. So it's a lot to set up, but we make it happen. So.
And what makes for a successful game day experience for both customers and employees?
A good attitude. A great attitude. It's a very long day for everybody involved, especially work-wise. It's a long work day. So a great attitude is good. And just preparation, I would say. Just making sure you're prepped for what's coming at you.
And as a captain, what are your responsibilities for game day?
Essentially, we run a floor. I run the tent for game day. So I just ensure that the tent's set up on time, that we're opening on time, all my staff is moving like they're supposed to, and we're getting everything squared away. So I would say my responsibilities are making sure that if the show's gonna run, I guess.
What would you say would be a more effective way to carry out game day duties, like having people set up before and or after, or having people come in to cut limes, cut lemons, roll silver, polish all the tedious little things, anything like that?
I think the way we have it set up works pretty well, as long as everyone's communicating. We have a setup shift that comes in on certain days, and all they focus on is football setup. They get everything stocked up, they put plasticware, alcohol, everything, and that works decently well. I can't really think of any other way we could do it, honestly. Maybe if I sat and brainstormed, but
and what is the work environment like when you use a teamwork approach versus an individual approach?
Oh, it makes all the difference. All the difference. When you have consideration for the people standing next to you, in my idea, that's what a team is. You have consideration for every single person standing in that room. Doesn't matter what your job description is, doesn't matter what your title is at that point in time, you're helping every single person. So I think teamwork is always the way to go. An individual aspect is you're gonna get what you need done, but no one's gonna benefit from that.
And when using a teamwork approach, what is everyone's responsibility? Is there any one set thing that they focus on, or is it everybody helps everybody?
I think personally I work on everybody helps everybody. If you're standing around and you're not doing anything, look at someone else. What can I help you with? What are you working on right now? Can I go get something for you? Can I help you with it right now? What's next on your list of things to do? I can knock out your next task, or whatever the case may be. That's how I think of it. So.
Right. What are some of the responsibilities that you have on game day?
Well, this year I'm a bartender, so I have to take inventory, count all of the different liquors, count all of the different sodas that we have, anything like that that's inside the bar. We have to put out glasses, and we have to make sure that we have change for them, make sure the computer system is working. We have to prep. We have to put olives on straws sometimes, so we have to do different things that prep for different drinks like Bloody Marys or anything like that. We have to make sure that we have all the different juices. If we don't have them, a lot of times we have to go over to the other side to get them. So it takes about 10-15 minutes getting back and forth. So the more stuff that you make a list of saying that you don't have it, like the less times you have to go back and forth for sure. But the year before that, I was a suite attendant, and I had to make sure that the room was tidy and clean, make sure that all the food came out at the right time, and make sure that all the people in there were happy. Sometimes I would make drinks for them just because, you know, they're all trying to watch the game, just trying to be nice and stuff. But different things that just trying to ensure that you're as prepared as you can be, and for any situation that may happen.
When using a teamwork approach versus an individual approach, how do you feel like that affects the work environment?
Sometimes whenever you work as an individual, it's okay, but on game days specifically, you definitely need to work as a team. Like, if I'm working in the bar, I need to tell the other people, hey, I'm gonna go do this really fast. Because if you just disappear and then somebody else is like, oh, this needs to be done, then somebody else goes to do it.
Ain't it fun? Living in that real world. Ain't it good being all alone?
We are a team.
We are a team.
We are a team.
We are a team.